what point did you decide, screw it, man, I'm going to go to this place, Nashville?
Well, I kind of figured it out about my second year in Illinois. I was writing songs and playing there. Nashville seemed like a pipe dream. It seemed like something that was cool, but I had other things I enjoyed too. And so I didn't really know where I was going to land. It wasn't until I came back home to Kansas and did like this, trying to remember what it's called. I think it was the Colgate Country Showdown. And you got to show up and you got to sing a cover song. They have a house band. And I think I was confused at the time. I loved writing songs. I loved performing my songs. And then I got to the way I got into the showdown was I sent a CD in, probably that original CD that had some songs I wrote on it. And I got called, made the top 12 in Kansas, and then had to do a cover song. And I realized the second I got on stage, I hated that. I didn't want to go sing a Tim McGraw song with judges, and something felt weird about that to me. I didn't like it. So I was confused about the whole thing and how it worked. And I didn't know, well, maybe I'm just a songwriter, or do I like performing? I didn't know. It wasn't the same enjoyment that I got out of performing something I'd written. And I learned to navigate that. It took a while, but when I was there, I met a friend who said, hey, there's this thing in Nashville called the Bluebird, and they have open mic nights every Monday. And I got back to Illinois to school and looked, I'm only 3 hours from Nashville. I'll drive down on Monday and I'll play an open mic. And then that was a completely different experience, because then I was trying to write as many songs as I could so that I could pick my best two. And then I'd wait in line every Monday to get up and play my 2 songs. And that's when I really was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I met other songwriters that I clicked with. And then it was like, I'm going to move to Nashville. I don't know how to pull the trigger. This is so different than anything any of my friends are doing, my parents are doing. So I felt a little bit like an alien. I didn't know how to, communicate to, especially my parents, that that's what I wanted to do. So, but I still dropped out of school, quit the football team. And I was like, well, I'm going to go back to Kansas and I'm going to work and save money to move to Nashville. And really what it was putting off the fact that I was scared, And so I framed houses in Wichita for about 8 months until I got sick of myself, showing up every day, 5 o'clock in the morning, going, I know what I need to be doing. And so one day I quit my framing job and packed my truck, and didn't have much, didn't have much money or anything saved up. Drove to Nashville, knew one guy there, and crashed in his apartment. And
dude, how powerful. For those that don't know what the Bluebird Cafe is, I'm sure a lot of my audience does, but if you don't, it's this little spot, and I say little, it's not very big, and it's kind of tucked away in the most random like strip mall on the outskirts of Nashville. But it's this really, if you're a songwriter, it's like, I don't know what you call it, but it's like legendary. All the greatest songwriters have played there and still do play there. Almost every night they have amazing shows. And what it is it's this place where you actually go sit. It's actually a listening room in Nashville. A lot of the country, as you know, Logan, they don't know this concept, right? They go to the bar, they drink, and they talk loud with their friends, and there's music in the background, and maybe they're singing along, but they're not really listening. In Nashville and a few other places, there's actually these places where you go and you actually are supposed to shut up and listen to the songs and listen to the lyrics, because these writers have put their heart and soul into it. And when you go there, literally, there's no chair that doesn't face this. Or they put the songwriters in the round in the middle of the room. They turn off all the lights. Everybody's quiet. You can eat and drink or whatever, but you're quiet. And the songwriters tell the stories of their songs and how they came about. And one of the best experiences of my entire life musically was the first time I went there. I read about it just like you did online. I'm like, dude, I'm a songwriter. I should know about this place. So I was in Nashville. I went there with my dad, and I can't remember what song it was now, because it was a long time ago, but I'll never forget. The songwriter is like, all right, I'd never heard of this guy. He's like, I wrote this, for Garth Brooks. And then he sings this song, and it was amazing, right? I'm like, what in the hell? Garth didn't write that? It's like, So I had this moment where I realized that most of the songs you hear, not necessarily from Garth, but like from most of the artists that you're hearing from, somebody else wrote the song. And what you're hearing at the Bluebird Cafe is those original versions coming straight from the songwriter's mouth, and they tell you the story. So if you guys are ever in Nashville and you want to see an amazing spectacle, go there. And then what Logan was mentioning, they have an open mic night once a week. I still think they do this, where you can sign up. Well, you just show up. It's like first come, first serve, I think, or maybe you sign up. I can't remember. I've only done it once, but and anybody can come play on that same microphone. And the night that I went, I saw a couple really famous songwriters there, like watching these amateurs, and it was really, really cool. So I can only imagine like that's a really cool story, man. That just going there that first time, you're like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was huge. And that moment that I finally got over my fear and just let go of everything and drove, I'm sure everyone in my family is like, what is he doing? And I think I was thinking the same thing. But once I got there, I was just like, okay, I need a way to make money. And the one good thing I did in college was there was a class offered to get your commercial driver's license, and it was 2 weeks long, and you had to go sit in the class. You took the test, and then they had a semi sitting out there. I did my semi driving test, which I was somewhat familiar with that sort of equipment, passed that. And then when I got to Nashville, I hadn't used that skill hardly at all. When I was in Illinois, I drove a truck for a farmer out there, farmer excavator type. And so I was able to get a job within like 3 days doing that. So I'd work 7 to 4. And then at 4 o'clock, I'd get off. I'd drive straight downtown, find an open mic night, stay out till 11 or 12, hitting every single one of those I could, go home, do it all again the next day. I did that for months and months.